Liz is the global head of employer brand and marketing for ADP, where she and her team have worked over the last several years to create an EVP and employer brand presence in over 17 countries. ADP has received several Rally Marketing Awards for best branding, social media, and marketing campaigns. Before ADP, Liz held many executive roles and various leadership roles in business intelligence, implementation, sales, strategy, and marketing. Liz, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate you having me today.
So as a in-house employer brand group, you supervise a team. Can you tell me about the size of ADP and the size of your team, maybe just to give some context to those folks that are trying to understand?
Sure. Yeah. We have about 60,000 associates worldwide. My employer brand team is made up of 10 people, including me. We're adding actually another person to the team who will be focused on Canada. So we have a wide range of skills on the team. I have a couple designers. I have a person who is everything video. I have people that manage social media, some of the ops stuff that we do, and then, someone focused specifically on our tech sector. And we're going to be adding somebody for Canada to focus just on the Canada market. So we're growing, and we have a really, really good team dynamic, and we've come a long way in the time that we've been doing this.
Can you tell me what you do like I'm a young child?
Yeah. Okay. So first, like what our company does, we have, HR-based products across pay, time, benefits, everything, AI and machine learning based. So really, really exciting time for us. What I do, so whenever anybody asks me about employer brand, I say, I sell careers at ADP, and represent our brand and our narrative in a way that people understand what they'd be getting as part of an employee with our company, and sharing what differentiates us against other companies out there that they may be considering for employment.
As you sell careers, you sell the careers of ADP. How did you get into this?
So actually, it's kind of an interesting story. My career path is actually quite lengthy and diverse, but I had been working to help grow our inside sales channel, which they now renamed digital sales, for ADP when I started 12 years ago with the senior DVP that was running that business. And together we built up that business, and he went to become the chief talent acquisition officer. And about a year later, he said, "Hey, I have this role coming up, and your background in marketing and social and everything, it's a little different. It's employer brand, but this might be your next best fun job. So, but you're going to have to compete for it. You're not just going to come in here. I'm not just going to say I'm hiring you. You're going to need to compete against other people who have experience in this." So that's what I did. I immersed myself in employer brand during the interview process. And I literally had to change people's perception of me as on the sales side of the business to I can, be in HR. I can do this from an HR perspective. I can take my translatable skills and make this, the best it could be. I've worked in every single corporate function throughout my career except HR and finance. So this was my jump into HR.
So tell me 2 truths and a lie about yourself, and I'll try to guess the lie.
First one, I've run the New York City Marathon. The second, I designed and developed a marketing automation system from scratch when I was 25 for a large Fortune 500. The other one is I have published 10 novels and novellas.
Okay. I'm going to guess the New York City Marathon was the lie.
Correct. I hate running.
I'm curious, has that writing informed your work, and has that maybe a tech background informed your work today?
Yeah, both. All the time that I spent in technology, 10 years of that was project management. And one of the things I teach all of the people that work for me and emphasize is being able to run a project and really understanding what all the constraints are, start to finish, because project management is one of those incredible transferable skills that if you can set something to a timeline, you can deliver it. So, and having delivered systems start to finish, this is something that is a huge translatable skill, in my opinion, as is writing. So, one of the things about fiction writing that is so different than what you find in business is the whole use of active voice. So, people read novels and they lose themselves in the book because the active language takes them through the story. And what we do in employer brand is storytelling. So leveraging active voice in storytelling and being able to tell a story in a compelling way, writing is really the underpinning of that. Having the writing, having project management, but also being able to understand the operational side of things. I've run operations teams before. There's a whole ecosystem technology wise to employer brand, whether it's the career websites, whether it's CRM system, those sorts of things. So understanding tech speak and being able to, translate that for business leaders, I think is important. Being able to pull from my background has really helped in all aspects of, employer brand and really every job I've ever had.
So what's something you wish more people knew about in your world?
So, and I'm sure anybody that works in the branding area will agree with me, is really understanding that the ROI of branding isn't necessarily tied to immediate conversions of, people into jobs. So branding is a long-term play, but it's what drives the candidate potentially to say yes over your offer versus someone else's. And when I look at the whole last, 2021 into back into 2020 when the great reshuffle was happening and there were more jobs than people looking for jobs, we hired more people that year than we've ever hired. And we had those people say yes. And I do believe, underpinning that has been the brand narrative that we have so carefully built in the market over the last 6 years and the payoff of that. And having people tell us, oh, I came to ADP because I listened to your podcast, or, wow, I saw your Came For Stay For campaign and I loved it. Or I saw this great story on LinkedIn and I clicked a referral link. All of that, has helped. And, we can't claim direct, wow, it was just us, but it does really provide the underpinnings of that ROI, and really getting people to understand that is super important, but it's not like a direct, point A to point B path.
What's a process or strategy you found success with recently in your world that you're able to share?
I'll kind of call it our engagement wheel. We've done a really good job over the last 4 years or so of creating an internal advocacy program. And in that internal advocacy program, we generate a lot of story ideas. And, part of employer brand is really being able to tap into your own associates and being able to leverage their personal stories. And so, we're able to get all these amazing stories through our associates, use them and align them with our EVP messaging, share them externally, whether it's organic channels or paid channels, and then, using that to attract more people into the organization. So it's like this wheel that, we've been using that's helped us really generate, this unending stream of stories and content, because that could be the hardest thing to find is, stories around your company or, things that you want to put out there that align with your messaging.
So what's something you think is overrated these days in the talent space?
A focus on undergraduate degrees. In the past, it's been on every job description, even at entry level positions that we're looking for college degrees. And I think that is creating a lack of inclusiveness. And we've seen the research to show that it's not as inclusive as it can be if you include those on every single job description if you don't really need them. So for entry level roles, we're trying to refocus, like a lot of companies are right now, on skills. what are the raw skills that people have? Like, let's not lock out what could be really, talented people that maybe couldn't afford to go to college, but have really great experience that's translatable into what we're asking, the people within those roles that we're looking for to perform. So
what's something you think is underrated in the talent space?
Transferable skills. For instance, we started a conversation with one of our business leaders for implementation roles. And what came out of that was, hey, we would really like some people that have worked in finance or finance-based roles, because their translatable skills could really fit in well if they're looking for a career change. And if you're not looking at transferable skills, like, you're not going to look at that resume and say that they're qualified for that if you're not opening yourselves up to what are the true skills I'm looking for, rather than looking for people that have just done it before, So I think that, again, with shrinking talent pools potentially in the future, are we really going to be looking at transferable skills as deeply as we should, to really get what could be phenomenal talent for those roles, and just missing them because they get screened out because they don't have a prior job that's similar. So just something that I think we need to really focus on more.
How have you gone about so far trying to train your folks or change that process of, let's not look at, like we said earlier, let's not look at the college degree, let's look at the skills. Can you give me just a very high level overview of how you've gone about starting that process?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, so my team about 18 to 24 months ago, we started looking at the job descriptions where we hired a high volume of people that could perform the job without a job description. So, we have probably 5,000 job descriptions in our ATS, and we took the top 200. And my team, literally, we did consult with an outside company to really understand the whole inclusiveness and how we want to work that into the job descriptions. But then we took that template and those learnings, and we took the top 200 jobs within, our various talent areas like client service and implementation and sales, and we rewrote them to remove the college degrees. And put in that we're looking for like type of experience, including military experience for veterans that we felt would be good in these roles that have proven to be very successful in them in the past. What's really interesting is, we went back specifically to the job codes that we had rebranded. Like, we just took tech recently. We wanted to attract more female talent, more underrepresented group talent. And we did see a measurable lift within the amount of female applicants and the amount of underrepresented group applicants within those job codes compared to the prior job code job description. So comparing, job code description over job code description. So.
All right. Last question for you, Liz. Looking back on your life, looking at your younger self, what's one piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
I would say, building relationships and, focusing on nurturing them, because it's relationships that really propel your career.
How's that saying go? It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Who you know.
It's true. Well, thank you, Liz, for being here. Where can people learn more about you?
Great question. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I have a very recognizable last name, so you shouldn't have trouble finding me. Feel free to connect and send a message, and happy to chat more. But right. Thank you for having me, Justin. I'm very, very excited to be here and very humbled that you invited me.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. And thank you very much. Thanks for listening to the Talent Journey podcast with your host, Justin Vaco. To learn more about Dialogue, visit recruitwithdialogue.com.